Hello everybody. So today's video is slightly different. I'm not doing a reading in this video, but I will be doing the weekly reading next. So check out that one as well. But this one is it's going to be about forgiveness. I wanted to start talking about certain areas in personal development, in sort of self-awareness and self-discovery, because as you know, or as some, if you don't know, I am also a self-discovery mentor. I'm also a qualified counsellor as well, and I have been on my own self-awareness journey where I have done a lot of my own healing to get to this stage in my life. So I wanted to share with you some areas of forgiveness that have really helped me in my own healing journey. I wanted to just go through some things that I have used, some tools, some exercises, and just parts of my own experience, really. So I wanted to share that with you for anyone who's struggling to either forgive themselves for something or forgive other people. So I've kind of combined the two areas. Because I do think they go hand in hand anyway. So I think if you're struggling to forgive someone, you need to start with yourself first. And yeah, so this video is for both really, but with the emphasis on sort of mainly yourself really. Okay, so I'm just going to go through a step-by-step process. This isn't like, linear. It doesn't have to be, in this order, but I do find it would help more if you do try to stick to this order. If you do want some kind of guidelines, or a step-by-step process, if you want that, it may be best to go through this order. But by all means, take whatever, put it into whichever order helps you. And works for you, because this is going to be your own journey, your own healing. Everyone is different. Some people find things easier than others. So basically, step one, just going to go through step-by-step process. So step one is to be with your feelings and reactions. So basically, whenever you're kind of, I hate to use this word, but like if you're triggered by something, if something comes up for you that has like a horrible reaction in your body, or negative thoughts, something that brings up negative thoughts, makes you feel bad, anything that kind of doesn't feel good to you, will either manifest in really negative thoughts or will manifest as feelings in your body. The majority of the time it does manifest in feelings in your body, but sometimes people don't really recognise that. So it's worth just being aware of anything that's coming up in your body. So for me, for instance, if someone kind of, if there's conflict, I a lot of the time I feel it in my chest. I feel like a tightness in my chest. I feel like my heart racing, sometimes get a horrible feeling in my stomach, things like that. So it's worth just paying attention to what's going on in your body and just being with that. So sometimes it can be difficult to sit with those feelings because they don't feel good, but it's really, it really does help to kind of just be with that feeling and just recognize it. The next part of that is just literally just seeing if you remember any other time in your life that feeling has come up, or if you remember the same situation. So say for instance someone's giving you silent treatment, right? Where else in your life have you experienced silent treatment? Was it when you were growing up? Was it in school? Did you fall out with a friend and they gave you silent treatment and it made you feel awful? Just see if you can pinpoint any particular time in your life where you've experienced this before, because a lot of the time these things keep coming up and keep being presented to you, because it's something that you need to heal from the past. A lot of the time it is. Some people might disagree with that, but I feel that in my own experience that has been the case. Okay. I have gone through this particular healing, this forgiveness healing journey with a situation which involved silent treatment. So I completely, I can say that this has worked for that. So yeah, and that's my truth. But yeah. Um, so once you have kind of felt into the feelings, you've located where it could have possibly come up for you before, if you have managed to do that, um, to, yeah, just, as I say, just honour those feelings, just be with them, just be okay with the fact that you are recognising this and this has happened to you, and you are starting to understand why you're feeling this way, okay, because it's happened to you before and it's not a good memory. The second step is to be kind to yourself, to show yourself compassion. Okay, so if you did go through a difficult experience in your past, and you say, for instance, you were bullied, or you've been through trauma, or you did have the silent treatment, or whatever it was, just know that it wasn't your fault. Okay, so if something's coming up for you now where someone's blaming you for something and it's making you feel really bad, know that it's not your fault. Okay, sometimes these things can come up again in our lives as mirrors, as I say, to past experiences, and that's only because they need healing. It's because a lot of the time it's because we probably aren't forgiving ourselves. Okay, so I always think the best way to forgive someone else is to forgive yourself first, because you might actually be blaming yourself for something from years and years and years ago that just doesn't really sit anymore. It's not the same experience anymore. You might not be intentionally hurting someone now. In the past, you may have intentionally hurt someone, or not intentionally hurt them, but thought that it was your fault. So it's time to kind of go back and look at that situation if you can. If I know it's sometimes really difficult to go back to these memories, and some people don't like to look at the past, but a lot of the time it's needed, especially if you're wanting to really forgive someone, if you're really needing help in forgiving someone else or yourself. Okay. A lot of people on this journey, so on this self-awareness journey, people who are wanting to do their own self-discovery and inner work, sometimes find it really difficult to do the forgiveness part. And whenever you hear the word forgiveness, you're like, oh, eye roll, like, oh, not that word again, or where am I struggling to forgive? And it can be really difficult. I still struggle to forgive myself for some things and certain people for some things. So it's not always easy, but maybe start small. Maybe start with like little minor reactions that you have to things that really irritate you, and see if you can do some healing in that area and just get a feel for what this is like. So yeah, so as I say, the second stage is to be kind to yourself, to offer yourself self-compassion. So maybe think of yourself as a child or teenager going through difficult experiences, and knowing that if you were a child, you probably didn't have much choice. You didn't know any better. If you were a teenager, you were probably having to deal with social aspects, trying to fit in. I know I was definitely like that. I did things that I wouldn't normally sort of have done, which weren't really me, but I was trying to fit in a crowd, and and wasn't being myself. But it was out of a place of wanting to connect with people, so that's not a bad thing really. So always remember that you probably a lot of the time don't do things intentionally. You do things because you want to connect, you want love, you want acceptance, you want to fit in and be part of something. And that's not a bad thing. That's what your heart is actually wanting. So once you kind of think in terms of that, you can maybe come from a more loving place to yourself, and you can say kind words to yourself. So you can say, you didn't know any better. If you did some things, if you said some things that upset people, you didn't know any better. You were going through tough times. You might have had some really horrible things happening to you around you that made you feel really angry and frustrated, and made you act out, and do things you wouldn't normally do, or, and you felt bad afterwards. And so to just try and look back and try and figure out what was going on for me then, did I actually mean to do it? Was it intentional, or was it coming from a place of needing some love for myself? And then step 3 is to understand why others have done wrong. So once you've kind of looked at yourself, you've understood what's going on for you, you've understood your feelings, you've been kind to yourself and offered yourself some compassion, you can then start, your mind starts opening a bit, your heart starts opening a bit. I think you create some space within you to actually look at the bigger picture, and it can sometimes help you to understand why other people might do what they do and say, and their behaviours. So it kind of gives you the opportunity to be open to more possibilities and be curious about what's going on for that other person. This is difficult sometimes, especially if someone's done something really awful to you. It can be really difficult. And sometimes we don't know what someone's been through. We can't know everyone's background. Not everyone opens up to us and tells us everything. They don't talk about their childhoods or what's going on for them. So we kind of have to just be open to possibilities, as I say, and just think, what could they be going through in their life? I've been through this. People don't know this about me. What could they be going through? Why have they reacted in this way? Is it something that I may have done, out of a place of hurt, and they're being affected by it, or they're being triggered by it like I was triggered, so it's worth just thinking of that, because this really does help this part, and it kind of gives you some space, and it frees you up from resentment, from anger, it can shift the way you feel inside, and that's the most important thing. Forgiveness isn't about saying, oh, I forgive them, whatever they've done to me is fine. It isn't about that. You'll hear a lot of people in the personal growth world say this, it's not about saying what they did is absolutely fine, and they can do it again. It's about freeing yourself up from the pain, from the anger, from the resentment, from feeling so negative. It's about shifting something within you and creating the peace within you, okay? And then you will probably find, that they will either change because your energy is shifted, or even if they don't change, because we can't change everyone, even if they don't change, it shifts the way you feel about them. You'll find you'll be able to be around them, in a more healthier way. So that's step 3. Step 4 is probably the most hardest part. So step 4 is offering the other person compassion. So this may be extremely difficult if you've been through really traumatic experiences in the past, that you can't forget. I know obviously a lot of people do suffer with really bad, traumatic experiences, and I don't expect everyone to do this step, but this is going to be the biggest step that you can do for your own healing, okay? So once you have kind of started to understand why others may have done wrong, you start to get a picture in your head about what could have gone wrong in their head, what could have gone wrong in their life to make them act this way, or it kind of helps you to kind of see them in a different light. You start to see their heart. You start to see, sometimes it's helpful to kind of see them as a child, as a teenager, and and see the love within them, really, and see that they may not have done things intentionally as well, or if they have, it's because they've been hurt in the past and things like that. And this isn't to, I'm not saying you have to kind of go up to them and say, nice kind words to them and hug them and be all loving and everything, because you don't have to do that. I mean, obviously if you get to that stage, brilliant, but it's not about that. It's just about seeing them, and seeing them as a person of love, because we're all love deep down, we're all made of love deep down. We all want to do good, in this world. You may not agree with that, but I believe that, and I feel like it's conditioned, it's the way we grew up, the society, all different things can affect us and change us as people. So if you can manage to get to that place where you can just see their heart, you can see the love in them, you can think of them differently, you can say things in your head, you can say, oh, okay, I understand now, I understand why you did that. You can write a letter, and don't have to give it to them. You can just write a letter just saying that you understand why they did things they did, I also did an exercise once which was really helpful, and it really helped me forgive someone who I never thought I would forgive in my life. It was the hardest person that I could have forgiven, and I went through a stage of not being able to look them in the eye, and now I can talk to them, I can be civil with them, I can see them completely different, I feel completely different around them. So this exercise really helped me, so it might be worth trying it yourself. So the exercise is to picture this person in front of you. You can close your eyes for this, just get quiet, just breathe, and then picture them in front of you and express that you understand, why they did the things they did. And then the biggest thing that helped me was to start thanking them. And I know this might sound really hard to do at this stage, because you're probably in a stage where you just can't forgive. They've done something so bad. And if you're not at that stage, if you don't feel ready, then I would go back to the previous steps, okay? Because I feel there's something you may be missing in those steps. So always go back to those first steps and see if there's anything you can grab, shift, offer more to yourself. But to thank them for things that they've done for you. So maybe you can think of good things that they've done for you. But the thing that really helped me the most was actually, I had some good things, but I didn't have loads because a lot of the things were bad. So I then started looking at the bad things, and I started thanking them for showing me these bad things, because they showed me what I didn't want in my life. So an example of this was, they weren't a very good husband, or they weren't a very good father or whatever. And this isn't to say that this is my experience, I'm just giving you an example. But they weren't that, so that showed me what I don't want in a partner, if that makes sense. So it showed me to go for relationships which were different, to look for relationships which were completely the opposite. So I said, thank you for showing me that. Thank you for being this person, because you've shown me what sort of people I don't actually want in my life. And so that is a good way of coming from your heart. Even though they've done such bad things, it's a way of coming from your heart and understanding them and understanding you and your feelings and everything. So so that's the 4 steps for forgiveness, and I hope it really, really did help. If you've got any questions whatsoever, if you've got your own experiences that you want to share, I would love to hear your own experiences, and anything that you found has helped you as well, because I'm always open to hearing sort of other ways of healing, so that I can help heal myself, because we're all still healing and we're all still growing. But also, if you want me to share things that you feel has helped you, and you want me to share this with a bigger audience, to help more people, just let me know as well, because I'm all for taking anyone's help, advice that will help more people. I'll get my words out today. But yeah, so I hope that helped, and as I say, just message me, comment below, like, share, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. You can also click on the little bell, which will indicate when I'm making new videos as well. I'm going to go now, and I hope you all have a wonderful week, even if I don't do any more videos this week. I am off on holiday, so I might do some more. And I will do the weekly card reading next. So I will speak to you soon. Bye bye.